How long, O Lord, must I wait? How long, O Lord, will you forget me? Forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts, and every day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me? Look on me and answer, O Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. My enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall. How long, O Lord, must we wait? Psalm 13, verses 1 through 4. I don't know how your week of waiting was, but I hope it went good. I don't know if your week of waiting was hard for you. Waiting for anything is hard. Besides waiting for our lesson, what else were you waiting for? What else have you been waiting for? A healed marriage? A financial miracle? An answer from God? A break from the quarantine? A rest from worry and fear? COVID-19 to disappear? What is your heart waiting for? How long will you have to wait? Can you imagine how hard it was for Noah to wait for the flood? Or Moses to wait for the plagues to end and Pharaoh to relent and let his people go? The Israelites to wait for the Red Sea to open, or the Israelites to wait for the Red Sea to go back and destroy Pharaoh's army? Can you imagine how hard it was for Daniel to wait to be thrown into the lion's den, or the lions to eat him? Or Bathsheba to wait for the consequences of her sin? Or Jonah to sit and wait in the belly of the whale? Can you imagine how hard it was for Mary to wait for Jesus to be born? Or for her to wait for Jesus to tell the world who he really was? Can you imagine how hard it was for her to wait? Or for Jesus to wait to be crucified knowing it was coming? Or the disciples to wait after Jesus died and was crucified, not really knowing exactly what they were waiting for? Can you imagine how hard it was for them to wait? Can you imagine if all these people in the Bible had not been still and waited on God? They would have missed out knowing and seeing who God really is. Think about it. What if Noah had gotten bored building the ark, got tired of waiting? Or Moses bailed on the people, taking the people, waiting for Pharaoh to let them go? Or the Israelites, what if they got scared and jumped in the Red Sea either before it departed or when it went back? Or Joseph? Or Daniel? What if Daniel had taken matters into his own hands and not waited to be thrown in the lion's den for God to show who he really was? And instead, Daniel fought the guards? What if they had killed him because he couldn't wait? Or Bathsheba? What if she couldn't wait for the consequences of sin to take place, and she ran away with her son? We would have never had such great psalms from David, I can promise you that. Or Jonah. What if Jonah got tired of waiting and gave up waiting and forgot to pray while he was waiting? Or Mary. What if Mary got ahead of God's will and exposed who Jesus was before it was his time? What if Jesus had ran from responsibility and ignored God's desire for him? What if the disciples had turned their back on what they had learned from God while he was here and instead went back to their old ways because they couldn't be still knowing who God was? Something I can't imagine is how long God has waited for. Something I can imagine is that God's waited a long time for people all over the world to realize all at once that they can't outdo, outsmart, outmedicate, or vaccinate anything or anyone. I can imagine that God's waited a long time for all the people everywhere to realize that they can't save anyone from anything. Do you know how long God has waited? Do you know how long God has waited for you? Do you know how God has waited for people in America to slow down? For the American culture to slow down? To put a halt to Sin City? to level the financial and Hollywood worlds, to bring Americans back to the basics of what a family should look like spending time together, having less distractions, less craziness, more time around the table together, eating meals and cooking with one another. Do you know how long God has waited to grab your attention and my attention and say, you can't fix this. You can't fix anything. You need me. So I'm going to give you the rest that you need, the rest that the world needs. And as you wait, please realize you must be still and know. You must be still and know that I am God. Let's read Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see the works of the Lord, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. In this passage, be still. God has said to you and I, God has said to the world, to stop. Enough. We got rest. No. Acknowledge that God alone saves. This is to be a universal recognition that only God saves. So all week, while you were waiting for our Bible study time together, you were experiencing the Bible study lessons each day. I don't know that you realized it, and I hope that you didn't miss it each day. During this time that God is speaking and teaching the world, speaking and teaching you and I hope that you don't miss it. I've already started being sad about when life returns to normal. I love many aspects of this gift that God is giving us, and I hope that you do too. But I don't want to be so dreading life returning to normal, real life returning to normal, that I forget to open and enjoy the gift that God is giving me right now, during this time of quarantine. So while we wait for what I don't exactly know, but what we are supposed to do is to be still and know that He is God. And our being still and knowing looks a lot like this. Let's read the end of Psalm 13 together. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, for He has been good to me. Let's turn over to Psalm 47. Clap your hands, all you nations. Shout to God with cries of joy. How awesome is the Lord Most High, the great King over all the earth. He subdued the nations under us, people under our feet. He chose our inheritance for us, the pride of Jacob, whom He loved. God has ascended amid shouts of joy, the Lord amidst the sounding of trumpets. Sing praises to God, sing praises to our King, sing praises. For God is the King of all the earth. Sing to Him a psalm of praise. God reigns over the nations. God is seated on His holy throne. The nobles of the nations assemble as the people of God, the God of Abraham. For the kings of the earth belong to God. He is greatly exalted. And the beginning of Psalm 48. Great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. So while we are stuck in this pattern of waiting, may we rejoice and be glad in the Lord. Sing praises to Him. Sing praises.